Okay, we're recording. All right, we are.
It looks like it.
Yeah. Good morning, Compass folks. Thank you for joining. We have our wonderful and really extraordinary speaker this morning, Dr. Kate Dow out of Santa Fe, New Mexico. She is a psychologist, the best. She's a psychologist. She's a women's empowerment and leadership coach, as well as a TEDx speaker, author, among many other things, and mother. And she started her career on her own and has climbed just the way we all have and are climbing. So everything, all of our struggles really resonate with her. She was my personal psychologist for 15 years. She got me through my husband's death and a lot of other trauma. So I'm here today because of her and her giving me the tools of personal empowerment to get through life's challenges, which we all have. So take it away, Dr. Dow.
All right. Well, I'm so grateful to be here and have an opportunity to share with you all some really important, powerful information that's made a difference in my life and many other women that I work with. So thank you for having me, and thank you, Betsy, for bringing me here. So today we're going to be sharing about the 3 secret keys to kick-ass confidence. And so my first question is, how many of you would really like to have more consistent confidence day in, day out for being able to manage life's difficulties? And if that's a yes, you can just do a raised hand or a yes in the chat, because I personally know how important it is as women in business to know how we can come back to and reconnect with that best part of us. So I do want to say that the chat is, we're going to consider it confidential, right? So that what is shared here stays here, so people feel comfortable identifying whatever it is you might want to share in the chat or in your questions. And you're being encouraged to bring a piece of paper with you if that's possible, so that you can do some of the exercises we're going to do today that are going to be really helpful for you to try on what it is I'm talking about and see how important and helpful it can be. Awesome. So what makes or breaks success? Well, we do, right? Each of us on how we show up every day, who we are when we show up, how we show up connected to all of our capacity, right? To manage life on life's terms. Because as you guys know, and I know, life doesn't go according to plan, right? We hit those roadblocks, and that's what can be part of this loss of confidence, but we'll get into that. So let's just not acknowledge that the number one asset we have in our business is ourselves. And that makes it really powerful, because that means we can do something about it. Now, confidence, we know it matters. So what gets in the way of our confidence? That's what we're going to kind of dig into a little bit. Like, what gets in the way and how do we lose it, right? Because it happens to each of us. Probably, that's my experience, more often than I would like. So what gets us in the way is what I call blockers, right? So I've got some ideas here saying like stress, it could be insecurity, it could be when we're caught in judgment, or we're in that overworking kind of perfectionist mode that just kind of takes us down that road of trying to be so perfect that we've lost our sense of actual ability to do what we're doing, or we just get anxious and overwhelmed. And I call these blockers because they're the things that we need to start seeing that get in the way of our sense of confidence, and we can do something about it. Now, who can relate to having these blockers? Like, for me personally, I've felt every one of those blockers. I can relate to them. I can remember incidences that those things showed up and completely got in the way of me feeling empowered and capable to handle a situation. So if that's true for you, you could write in the chat, or again, raise your hand and be like, yes, relate to that. So think about, like, what are the primary blockers that show up for you? Right on, getting some responses. Yes, raised hands. Absolutely. Like, this is, in a way, raising our hand lets us know we're all human here, right? Because as a human being, we will feel these things. It's a normal thing as a human, and we're going to talk about why. So sometimes just naming those blockers helps us go, oh, that's what's getting in the way of my confidence? Yes. And we're going to find out why. Oops, that went too fast. Nope, back, back, back. All right. So let's talk about, why are human beings prone to fear and insecurity or anxiety? Why is that? What is that that happens? Because when we lose that confidence, as I've know, it's devastating. We can feel small and stuck, and just spinning our wheels trying to figure things out, and just not connected to who we really know we are. It's painful. It's painful. So let's talk about the two types of fear. The first type of fear is the fear of death that we just as human beings experience because we know someday we're not going to be here, right? That's just a given. But the second type of fear is what I call the fear of life. And this is the fear that we get into in our head when we're like, I'm not good enough. What if I just can't do it? What if I won't be as successful as I want to be? Or what if I can't take care of my family the way I want to? Or maybe just like, am I going to be able to fully shine my potential that I know I have inside me? And the fears that come up around that are a typical experience as a human being. But where do they come from? These fears can come from this sense of what we've come through. And I'm going to talk about them in just a second. So I want you to take a minute and think of the most recent time that you had this fear show up for you. It might have been in a work situation or in a personal situation where you got stuck in these blockers of overwhelm or self-doubt or confusion. Think of the most recent one where it really showed up for you and it kind of stopped you in your tracks. I call it like the big rock in the road. Like you're cruising along and things are going well, and suddenly you're like, I can't drive further down the road. There's a huge rock and I can't get around it. I can't climb over it. I just have to face it. And when we're in that fear or insecurity or lack of confidence, it's just unbearable. But I want you to think about one time, okay? And consider the blockers that were happening, right? Was it insecurity? Was it overwhelm? Was it perfectionism? And rate that experience on a confidence scale of 0 to 10. 10 being the absolute highest amount of confidence you can imagine ever experiencing, and 1 being the lowest, okay? And on 1, it's like, you just have no connection. Okay, so I have a share of, I noticed I froze and I almost backed out in the situation. Perfect. So that's your incident we're going to come back to. And rate yourself. Really think about it. Where was I when I got stuck in that situation, hitting my blockers? Where was my confidence at that point? 0 to 10. You can put that number in the chat or just put it on your paper and know that so we can come back to it. And that low confidence, again, is a feeling of, I'm just not feeling my best. I can't find it. I can't, come back from it. I'm feeling stuck. And I just am not seeing my way through it. Or I'm feeling reactive and scared, whatever it might have looked like for you. Okay? Now, where does this fear or where do these blockers come from? Again, it's kind of part of being alive, but it's also probably a lot of what we've experienced, how we grew up, how our family dealt with these blockers or how they showed up, or maybe just being a woman in a male-dominated society, how we experienced that can become part of our blockers, or traumatic losses and experiences that were very difficult and life-changing. Those are also places where that fear could begin to be in our lives and start operating as these blockers in how we're showing up in the day-to-day life. Okay, so these are human experiences, normal things, but you might think about, oh, what are those things that showed up for me that have really impacted me? Okay, so I'm going to give you a little example in my life, tell you a little bit about my story. So I grew up on the other coast, the West Coast, and I was like in a upper middle class family that happened to be also an alcoholic home that came from alcoholic families on both sides. I was this strong, smart girl, and I always felt anxious, scared, and never good enough. I was insecure. I got self-critical and perfectionistic in early on in like middle school. I was fearful around whether or not my looks were okay, how my performance in sports and academics were not good enough. It's like confidence was something I wanted so bad, and I had no idea how to get. I continued to struggle with insecurity and this kind of lack of sense of self, in a sense, you could say, all through school, in my relationships, in my work scenarios, and in my body. I never measured up in my mind. I was always comparing myself, right, with other women and always judging myself. It was not fun. It was very miserable, really. Um, and I just couldn't break out of it. I didn't know how to break out of it. So in my 20s, when I was starting to do grad school to become a psychologist, that was some of the teachings that I was starting to learn and the personal growth I was learning. But I also started studying with different teachers from different wisdom traditions. And between the two of those things, I started to see and understand how I could relate to myself differently about this fear and insecurity. And it started to make a huge difference in my life. It later became part of this signature program of how I work with people, because I was able to start changing how I showed up in myself and with this fear. And then I was able to really start helping other women do that. So flash forward 30 years, and I wrote my book, Fearless, The Art of Using Anxiety to Your Advantage. And I started my podcast, It's Her Turn, and started to share more about all of this women's empowerment that's possible. And so let me tell you a little bit about writing this book, because I never planned to write a book. Uh, the only reason I felt compelled to was I was working with my clients and people were making incredible progress, but I was like, I don't want women to suffer. I don't want women to keep feeling as crappy as I did all that early time of my life. I wanted them to have these tools and these understandings and teachings that I learned and I was sharing with people, but I wanted more people to have access. So I was like, how am I going to pile all this stuff into this little book? And suddenly I had this kind of magical appearance of this way to do it, to organize it nice and clean and clear. And I was very blessed to be able to get published with Morgan James, which is actually in your guys' neck of the woods in New York City in 2019. And it's the only book I know of that's focused on helping women overcome fear and anxiety, that's written just for women. And I bring in a lot of different ways of supporting women with feminine archetypes and holistic teachings and practices that truly make a difference in women's lives to feel more empowered and confident. So, who would like a copy? Raise your hand. And so how we're going to do this is we're going to do a drawing. And if you're interested in getting a free copy, I'm going to do a drawing where everyone will have an opportunity to participate if you choose to. So here's how we're going to do it. We're going to pick a number between 1 and 100 and put it in the chat. And we're going to come back to it later and we'll decide because I've already pre-picked a number like a few weeks ago. So just pick a number, and then whoever gets chosen will get that free copy. And I'm really excited to share it with you. Awesome. I love it. I love it. Jump on in. Put your number down. Yay! Cool. So let's get back to confidence. How do we define confidence? Well, there's lots of different ways to look at it. So let's do the general definition. Confidence is defined as a belief in oneself, a trust in one's power or abilities, right? It's like a sense of self-assurance. But let's get clear about what it is not. Confidence is not a static state of mind and being that is consistent and concrete. We can't get it and, have achieved it one time, and then we've crossed the finish line and we're done. We never have to look back, right? This is the hardest thing about confidence, is it's very slippery, right? We can have it and then we can lose it and get caught in those blockers. So it is not something that we can just grab on and have a one time. But what is it? It is an embodied mindset that comes from our whole being, right? Mind, body, spirit, that makes us feel more conscious, capable, and adaptable in ourselves. So I call it more of an experience that we can cultivate daily in ourselves to meet life on life's terms the best we can. So that's my definition.
I love it. Dr. Dow, we have a couple of questions.
Sure.
Would you mind just take, because sometimes, they're of the moment and people have
Definitely.
to get that. Girls, everyone who's raised a hand, please unmute and speak. Beth Silfen, I saw you last, so could you unmute yourself and ask your question, please? There we go.
Hi. I'm sorry. I'm driving.
Fine.
And it's not really a question. It's just so inspiring to listen to you. And I wanted to just say, my brain's on fire, and it's just,
I love it.
It's great.
So thank you. I so appreciate
it. I'm just trying to drive and coordinate here.
Drive safe, okay? While your brain's on fire, please.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Beth. Okay, mute yourself.
Betsy.
Thank you. Mute yourself, please. Thanks. Excellent. Okay, and then I'm so sorry. There was somebody else, please, who raised their hand, and I've lost your name. Just come forward and ask your question if you still have one. Beth, can you mute yourself? Thanks, Beth. Okay,
all right.
All right, I don't see the other hand. Okay.
Okay.
So we'll continue. Sorry.
Awesome.
Thank you. Okay.
All right. So knowing that confidence is not something that we just attain, but that we can actually cultivate every day. It is an experience we can do. So what is the secret? How do we do that? And so then we're going to identify the 3 secret keys to kick-ass confidence that I've come to and I've kind of honed and refined to be able to offer and share with you today. And they're based on the healing principles, we could say, or the embodied wellness principles of psychology, neurobiology, whole person wellness, and the wisdom traditions that I've studied. So let's look at the 3 main characteristics of confidence. And that is being conscious, being calm, and being connected. I have found and sort of distilled down all the work I've done to be very focused on how to share with you these 3 powerful ways that you can shift back into your confidence. So, how does this happen? How do we do this? Well, there's 3, if we look at our confidence system of who we are as a human being, it's our head, our body, and our heart. These are the 3 keys, right? So the 3 characteristics are the head, where we can create consciousness, the body, where we can create calmness, and the heart, where we can create connection. So let me share a little more about that. So when we look at the first key, right? Head being where we can create consciousness. This is how aware and clear we are, allows us to see the bigger picture of what's actually happening and to see it from different perspectives. So this means when we're stuck in our thinking mind that's kind of full of fear and full of self-doubt and full of these beliefs that we're not good enough, it's really hard to, right, see the bigger picture. So instead of identifying with this thinking, we learn how to cultivate awareness that gives us this deeper, bigger perspective. And we're going to go through a little example of it. So it's okay if you're like, I'm not quite sure. What do we do with that? So just hang in there. The second key is the body, how we create this calmness, right? How present and congruent we are gives us the power of making good choices. This is the place where we can make better decisions when we're not in our reactive biology and emotional experience that we're having in our body. Because when we get triggered by that negative, fearful thinking, the body goes into its reactions, right? Fight or flight, or our heart rate is going and our fear is driving us and we're getting tense and scared and the emotion is happening. It might be that we're nervous or maybe we're more irritable. Whatever way, we've kind of gone offline from being able to think clearly. And so how we learn to come back into calmness is what helps us then see more clearly what our choices are and make good ones, right? Make good choices rather than from impulsive places. The third key is what I call our heart key. This is where we reconnect with our resources, because how resourced and ready we are empowers us and our capacity to be connected to our intuitive wisdom and our agility that lets us navigate, take action on that situation the best for optimal outcome. So this is when we, in our heart, right, when we feel isolated, alone, and stressed out, and we don't have enough resources and support, we can shut down. Again, we're no longer operating from an optimal place. And when we're shut down, of course, we can't make good choices. We can't take action on those choices and know, well, that didn't work. So now what, right? We lose connection with that inner wisdom, that inner, what I call feminine wisdom and intuition, and the agility to navigate when things, need to be adjusted. So that's in general what those keys look like. Now, let me share a little story of a case, client that I worked with. Lisa was an amazing, talented entrepreneur, is amazing entrepreneur out in California. She has this awesome coffee baking company, and she was doing really well. When I met her, she was now trying to scale her business and take it to the next level and open a second location. And this was triggering all kinds of anxiety, right? She was moving towards her dream goal, and suddenly she was getting just totally flooded with all this old fear and worry about not being good enough and not being able to handle it and not knowing what to do, all these roadblocks mentally and emotionally. And the anxiety was now affecting her sleep and her ability to even function well, because she was stuck in these cycles of judging herself. So as I worked with her, she was able to start noticing what was going on and apply the signature system processes for reconnecting with her feminine confidence, wisdom, and empowerment. And this really helped her recognize the sabotaging belief systems and behaviors that were happening for her. She really took into it and was doing the practices, doing the exercises every day to be connecting and shifting things on a heart, head, and body level. And this was making a big difference for her in her being able to recognize what was possible. Now, flash forward And within 6 months, she'd opened her second location. She doubled her income, was on her way to the next places she really wanted to be in her success, because she was owning her right to success now that she had cleared a lot of the blocks and the fear that were getting in the way. So that was amazing. And she's really doing well today. This is what the work can do. It gives us the ability to do these confidence shifts, to be able to empower our capacity, like our true potential, right? And show up when things are difficult and know what to do. How do we come back to ourselves and reconnect? So that's what we're going to do now. It's your turn to be able to experience how this can shift. So again, we have the system of the confidence, which is head, body, and heart. And I'm going to take you through the 1, 2, 3 confidence shift. So this is where you're going to want to have in mind, if you're driving and if you have the opportunity to be actually sitting and have your paper, I want you to sit down and bring up that incident that you wrote down or thought about where you got stuck, that you thought of earlier in the presentation. Oh my gosh, I just lost you guys.
We see you. We see you.
Okay,
You
yeah,
switched the
something
screen.
happened. My whole computer went down. So give me one second. That was so strange. All right, so let me just can you guys see the presentation?
No, I cannot. I see everybody's beautiful faces and photos
Okay,
and language.
totally lost the presentation. I don't know what happened. That was so
Don't
strange.
worry.
All right, we're
Breathe.
good. I'm sharing.
Okay, there we go. See, you did it.
And
Well
then
done.
I'm pinning it.
Well
Awesome.
done. We're back.
We are continuing.
We're back.
All right. All right. So now you've got your incident in front of you, or if you're driving, you're just thinking of it. And I want you to take a moment, and at the head key, I want you to think about what were the fearful, limiting thoughts that were happening in your head. Were you stuck in black and white thinking? Were you judging? Were you caught in self-doubt? Wherever you were, just have a sense of that. And then let's go to the body. What was going on physiologically? Were you noticing, can you look back and notice, oh man, I was really having like a stomach ache, or my throat was hurting, or I was getting so tight in my shoulders because I was really worried about this situation. So just think about that and write that down. And then think also about the emotions, like what was going on emotionally? Were you stuck in fear? Were you kind of in a, angry mode because of all the stress and overwhelm? Just name some of the feelings that were happening. And then at the heart level, check in with how supported did you feel in yourself, or lack of support were you feeling in that moment? We can all have support in our life, but when this, loss of confidence and fear blockers happen, we just forget it, right? We disconnect from all of it and we forget that we even have it. So think about how shut down you might have been in that moment versus being open and asking for help, or feeling connected again to that sense of your intuitive wisdom. So just feeling into that. And now we're going to take a moment and just do a little breathing technique. So put it down, and if you have an opportunity to not be on your phone for just a minute, take this minute and come into a posture where you can relax for a moment. So even if you're driving, if you have the opportunity to just pull over for 3 minutes, we're going to do a little process of coming into our awareness and relaxation.
And everybody, make sure to please mute yourselves, just because if you let out a groan, we don't want to hear it.
So we're going to call it, it's it's like a pause time. When we're doing the 1, 2, 3 shift, it's really about taking a pause. And the pause is a significant part of how we shift things. So feet are on the floor, your spine is nice and up and open, your chest is available so that you can breathe nice and deep, and you're going to allow the jaws to release as you begin to breathe. Just nice and easy. It can be in the nose and out the mouth, or in and out the nose. But you're going to start noticing where you're holding tension and begin to release it. So a big one for a lot of people is in their face. So relax your face, relax your jaw, relax your shoulders down, soften your belly, and bring all of that attention inside, and allow your thinking mind, whatever thoughts you're having, to become like clouds, just floating by. You can see them, but you don't have to go entertain them. You're going to stay focused on your breath and relaxing your body. And now we're going to do a little breathing practice. So just relax and begin to inhale, and imagine counting that breath. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold the breath on the top of the inhale, 1, 2, and exhale, 6 counts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and hold out 2 counts. And now breathe in. Same 4 count. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold 2. And exhale 6 counts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hold out. 1, 2. And last one, inhale 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold that breath. 1, 2. Exhale nice and slow and deep, relaxing the whole body. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And hold out 2 counts. And now continue to stay relaxed. And allow yourself to bring that incident up before your mind's eye. Stay relaxed with your eyes closed if that works for you. And I want you to imagine being able to see yourself in that situation as if it was happening right now. And you're going to focus in on the head and the thinking that's happening. And you can notice all of the, we could say, fearful thinking that's happening. And you're going to be able to imagine pulling a part of your awareness up onto one of those clouds and looking down and recognizing that fear-based thinking and understanding from this higher point of view on this cloud that there's another way to see what is happening without all of the fear. That from this place of consciousness, right, we're going to view that same situation right now and be able to see perspectives we couldn't see before. And you can even say to yourself, I can perceive this from a wider, clearer perspective now. And just allow that shift and that ability for the mind to open to that awareness and see what comes to you. And now we're going to move to the body dimension. And you're going to remember and tap into how you were feeling emotionally, how your physiology was all worked up and stressed. And I want you to bring a hand to your low belly and just begin to breathe nice and deep into that hand. So you're filling up your belly as you inhale, breathing into that hand, and as you exhale, the breath is it going out, your belly's moving back towards the spine, and your hand is going down. And you're just going to breathe this way for a moment as you give permission to meet whatever was going on physiologically with the stress and the fear and the emotion, whatever emotion was present, with some compassion. And you're just going to accept that that's what's there, that this situation really triggered a lot, triggered this fearful thinking, and now you have a lot of emotion and stress in your body, and you're just going to say to yourself, I can feel this, and I can release it, and know that I'm safe, and I can come back to feeling calm. And from this calmness, I can see new choices about what's possible. And see if you can tap into that calmness. Feeling the calmness in your body. Feeling the groundedness and the presence that you can have in the middle of having this discomfort and stress. You can come back into a place of calm. And now let's move to the heart. Recognizing where you felt isolated, maybe unsupported, not trusting yourself. And I want you to take a hand, the other hand, you can leave the other one at the low belly and bring the other hand to the upper chest, right in the center. We call this the heart center. And I want you to imagine yourself in that situation, but now you're calling in support of all the people in your life, or could be pets or whatever, helps you feel loved and supported. And imagine them all around you in a circle. And they're just showing up and caring. They're caring for you in this situation, and you're feeling their love and support. And you can say to yourself, I can receive this support and feel more open and trusting in my heart. This allows me to touch into my intuition and my inner wisdom. I can feel connected in myself. And from this place is where you can take right action. You can see the choice, you can make the choice and know and feel into what feels just right for you in that situation to navigate it the best. Now relax your mind and just take a moment and take a deep breath or two, being present in your body, noticing how you're feeling more conscious in the head, more calm in the body, and more connected in the heart. Rate your level of self-confidence now, 1 to 10. 10 is the highest confidence you can imagine experiencing, and 1 is the lowest, that place of low confidence and fear. And if you feel comfortable, you can put that rate of confidence in the chat, maybe even the before and after, and notice if there was a difference. Now, for some of you, this might be a very new process, so it may have been maybe a little challenging to grab into this way of looking at it, but maybe you still noticed a difference. So if you feel comfortable, go ahead and put that in the chat. How did that change from the beginning of the presentation to now? Two to 8, right on. 3 to 8, wonderful. Awesome, Karen. So you can see that this is not something that we traditionally think of as like, this is how we work confidence, but this is the powerful secret. 3 to 8. We have somebody unmuted. You
Roxanne.
can mute yourself.
Roxanne, could you mute yourself, please?
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's
It's
okay.
okay. Thanks.
Thank you.
So you can see how amazing this can shift things. This is the 1, 2, 3 confidence shift. And here's the deal. The more you do this, the more powerful and effective it can be quickly, because the benefits, right? The benefits of this kind of what I call kick-ass confidence is that we're able to come back into feeling comfortable in our own skin and feeling connected to our true potential and being able to continue on this journey of sustaining a successful way of being and in your work. Because these are the tools that when you practice daily, they become, like I said, more powerful to create this confidence shift. And this is helping us, again, build our conscious awareness, our calm presence, and our connection with our true capacity and potential in our lives. So it's really quite amazing. And I'm really glad that some of you experienced that shift. So I want to be able to see who won the free book. Let's check in, Betsy. The number I picked ahead of time was 33. Can you run through the chat and see who it is that won?
Let's see. We have one that's close. We have two that are closest. We don't have any. Would you say 33 was the number?
Yes, 33 was the number.
So the two that we have close, and this will take realtor math here, we've got a 26 and we've got, 26 is the closest.
Okay, well, who is that?
26, Noemi. Congratulations.
All right. All right.
Won.
So do me a favor and make sure, Noemi, if you want to put your contact in there or leave it with Betsy and I can get it, so I can get your address and I'm going to mail you a copy. And those of you who didn't win, know that it is available on Amazon. We'll put the link in the follow-up so that you can check it out. And I'm really excited that you guys wanted to participate in that. Wonderful. Karen's saying perspective from the clouds really helps. Wonderful. And like I said, this work is so powerful because the more we do it, the more we elevate. The name of the podcast is It's Her Turn. It's pretty new, and I'm going to share with you a little bit how you can find me. If you want to have, if you have we're going to do some questions, but I just want to let you know, if you want to find me, here's the link for my TEDx that you can check out. And you're welcome anytime to sign up for a discovery call just to see what's going on and, how you can continue working with this process if that's interesting to you. Okay. And for those of you, because I really was so excited that Betsy invited me, I wanted to create a special package for you all. So for any of you that are interested in really jumping in right now and taking this work deeper to really help you, I created a 3-session package that's $650 plus tax that we do have here in New Mexico. But this is a value of $975. And this is an offer that I want to give to you, and it's time limited. Okay. It'll be good until May 10th at midnight. And all you have to do is email me and let me know with the code Confidence Keys that you're interested, and then we'll figure out scheduling later, okay? Because I am very full right now, but we'll figure out when we can get you on the schedule. So if that's of interest, please do take advantage of this great offer. And now let's jump to questions, because I really want to hear what questions people might have so I can give you a little more value before we go.
Okay, so Noemi, I got your messages. Thank you. And I already sent you an email, so we're good. Girls, questions, comments, anything you want to say? Raise your hand.
A lot of people saying, great. It was a great session. I'm so glad.
Yeah, which is wonderful. Does anyone have anything they want to share? Again, this is recorded, but it will be confidential within the space. So anything you want to share? Questions? Yes.
I'd like to say something. This was very, very helpful because I had a very, very difficult morning, and I actually felt myself trembling and shaking. And the breathing technique that you did is extremely helpful. I actually have done it on the app meditation, and you actually sounded like one of the meditation teachers. And I connected with the words that you use, because I know that's some of the wording they use in the meditation, and it really helps. I cannot tell you how many times on the subway, pre-COVID, I would get very anxious and I would put on the meditation, and it would calm me down almost instantly. So thank you for sharing that. It was really excellent.
Wonderful. Yeah. So the power of all these different tools of learning how to work with our mind and with our body. You know, we're supporting our nervous system. That's a big part of us, and our emotional experience. Another place that confidence wipes us out is we resist feeling the struggle, and that gets in the way of us actually being able to move through it and come back to confidence. So it is these layered pieces, and the breath work is so powerful. As a yoga meditation teacher, I bring it a lot with people because it's a very powerful way that we can come back into calm, and that helps us be able to see things more clearly. So awesome. Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else with a comment, question? And also, for those of you driving, email me because I know her very well, obviously, and I can give you anything you didn't get today. This is also being recorded and will be put on Women of Compass on our page. And, you know, all right. So.
All right. Well, thank you so much for the opportunity. And like I said, you can find me and connect with me anytime. And we'll also follow up with this information on an email that Betsy will send out to you all. Thank you so much for coming and taking the time to experience this and seeing how it might support you. I wish you the great rest of your day.
Thank you, Dr. Dow. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.